Hi, hi everyone. Welcome back to the Purple Level. I'm Wesley Reed Sr. Subject for today's episode I think part 11 or episode 11. I was talking to a good friend of mine on yesterday, and we were talking about our families, the things that we try to do to maintain, and we also touched on you know, our roles as fathers, uh, as husbands, um, and you know, um, we're both of median age. That age where we already have made pretty much ends meet. Now it's time to build a legacy for our children's children, so they can have a better start in life than we did. And one of the subjects was we talked about was our relationships with our spouses, and trying to, I guess, rekindle after our children have become, young adults and starting to branch out on their own. Um, how do you rekindle your relationship with your significant other? So I want to see if I can get some of you guys' feedback on this. Um, a lot of times, uh, I think people go to the wrong people for advice when it comes to their marriages or their relationship. For instance, no knock on him. He made a lot of money. Steve Harvey, Think Like a Man. He was able to uh, produce a movie from the book, and a bestseller out of it. But um, you know, Me personally, I think that's the wrong guy to go to for relationship advice. This guy, had already been through, two marriages before he married his current wife. So, you know, how's he gonna tell me about, my marriage, which I've been with the same woman. So, he has um, no advice to give me. I would rather get my advice for someone who stuck with the same woman from the beginning, and actually, kept his vows. Um, that's an example that I would like to follow. Like my parents, they raised 10 kids, from the same two people. Um, Four boys and one girl up north, and four boys, one girl in the south. So, and then my other siblings who have been married for, you know, a long period of time and have raised their children from inception. And even one of my brothers, married a nice lady with five children, and we were very young when he did. He was 21 years old, but he um, raised those other men's children until they were adults. So I can garner some sense of a relationship advice from him. Even though those weren't his children, he took on another man's responsibility. Um, so I take a lot of pride in knowing that that's my brother. So, what are your thoughts? It's so easy when times get hard in a relationship to just walk away. Whether it's infidelity, financial issues, you can cut and run very simply. If you're going to be a runner, you're going to run all your life, and thinking you're going to upgrade because now you're financially able to leave the woman that, have stuck with you through the shit of your life, excuse my language, um, is not something that I choose to do, or I respect a man who does. You go find a supermodel or the Instagram model, and leave the woman who have bared your children to fend for herself, you know. So I don't respect you as a man when you do that. So, you take on a responsibility, you see it through. As a man, we have to provide a sense of leadership in our families, and what example are you setting for your daughters and your sons if you do something like that? You just leave their mother, and now they gonna repeat that same cycle in their relationship. Well, dad did it, so he just cut and run. You got a lot of single mothers out there who, are looking for, a man who's gonna, take care of them in their times of need, or, or single women who don't have children who are looking for real men. In the black community, a lot of our men are, incarcerated, or, in the dope game, getting themselves murdered over bullshit. And, that's sad because, a house divided will fall. If the family unit is not strong, then that will fall. That's in war. That's in, any organization that you have. If you're constantly bickering amongst yourselves, that organization will not prosper, whether it's a church or anything like that. So, in order to be strong, you got to be together and you got to be on the same page, moving in the same direction. So those are my thoughts. It's short and sweet. Also, we were talking about, the rearing of our children. Nobody has a book on how to be a parent, or, any, you only can go by the examples that you're given when you're talking about your children. And a lot of times we, as parents, tend to give our kids the things that we didn't have as a child. We'll change up how we raise our children from what our parents have done, because we think is a better way of doing it. We give our children either more freedoms, or, if you don't like corporal punishment, you won't whoop your child, you'll put them in timeout, or things of that nature. And you come up with these psychological things to, in your mind, help your child better than what you went through. But, through trials and tribulation, we become better. And when you subtract that from your child's life by giving them everything, or you don't let them overcome the hardships in their lives, you are really handicapping that child. Because, everybody want to give these kids these days a participation trophy. Teams, high school teams don't even, and park rec teams don't even cut the children no more from the team. So they don't know anything about overcoming adversity, going back and learning what you did wrong and getting better at it, because everybody gets to play. Everybody is, great. So society tells you. But then you put that same child out into the world, and the world eats him alive because he has no mental fortitude to overcome his shortcomings, because he doesn't know how to, because you handicap that child. So, these are just my opinions. Some of you may think differently. So that's why, I'm having these discussions with my family and friends. I want to get some insight on that, and the rearing of children and your relationship. Once you've, raised your children to adulthood, how do you rekindle that relationship with your spouse? Do you start courting her again, and she start courting you? Because a lot of times we as parents focusing on trying to secure the future of our families, and we forget the original relationship that started in the beginning when the children come along. And so you start to take your spouse or your significant other for granted, and you don't, see her in that same light because she have bared your children. Now she don't have the shape or the figure that she had when you first met her. Now you looking at this new young thing walking down the street with all this fakery on, these fake boobs and and fake bodies. And you know, but to each his own. I'm not body shaming anybody. You know, if you feel that, you know, you have to do what you have to do in order to attract what you want, then okay. You know, I understand that it's survival of the fittest out there. You know, it's a dog eat dog world, and like I was telling my friend, you know, women, in my opinion, they look for three things in a man basically. You know, security. Does she feel safe around you? You know, do she feel that if another man disrespect her, will you have her back? You know, and then the other thing, or anyone for that matter, disrespects her. You know, that's a security piece. You know, does she feel safe walking down the street with you? You know what I'm saying? You know, and now we also talked about the Will Smith situation. You know, I know a lot of opinions have been made about Will Smith, but you know, in their open relationship that they have, so to speak. But you know, and why, since they're in an open relationship, did he react so so vividly on a night like that? And it comes a point where anybody would snap. I mean, he would been ridiculed all year long about the fact that his wife slept with his son's best friend. You know, he was ridiculed and ridiculed. And then on the biggest night of his life, you know, that he's worked so hard to get to, you start disrespecting and bring up the, you know, start disrespecting his wife's hair. You know, a black woman, you know, on a big night in a black history, you know, on one of the biggest stage in the world, you choose to pick out the only black couple sitting in the front row who've been honored that night. And so, you know, if it would have been me, he would have got more than just a damn slap. See, I would have took his ass out on sight, because, you know, if I would have snapped, it wouldn't have been no, you know, slap and walk off the stage. He even gave him three warnings. Keep my wife's motherfucking name out your damn mouth. You know, everybody wants to be in everybody else's relationship, but then they don't even take a look at their own relationship and what's going on with it. But you want to ridicule somebody else on their relationship and what they got going on in their household or in their bedroom, you know. But on that night, you know, in Black history, you know, we don't even get those awards, you know, like we should in most cases. And you as a comedian and as a black man chose to, you know, you could have poked fun at something else. Lighthearted fun is lighthearted fun, and you know the difference, you know. But you're going to pick at a black woman or hair on national TV in front of, you know, excuse my language, to the people who are not black, or, you know, in front of everybody else, you know, and embarrass them, you know, on a big night. And then they hit their family there, you know, they already had a lot of pressure, you know, regardless of whatever you think about them sitting and exposing their lives to you, but you seem to enjoy it. You know, reality TV is something that's real. You know, they done replaced a lot of regular TV. You don't even see regular TV shows anymore because you got all this reality, so-called reality, but these are just stage scenes that they are promoting as reality. So these are just people, hey, put them in sticky situations and see what happens, you know. And then when somebody acts a monkey, you know, they become a star because they know how to act a monkey on TV, you know. But that's just my opinion. You know, you're welcome to share yours. So this has been the Purple Level, you know, you know, chopping it up today. You know, I know a lot of you think that these discussions that I have are, you know, personal in nature, and they are, you know, and that's what I intended them to be, because, you know, in order to do better, you got to come to the realization that, you know, you got to be honest with yourself, you know, and I'm trying to be honest with myself, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I do what I do, you know, and I have my skin is thick, you know, I've been through a lot in my life, so your opinions of me don't matter anyway. So, you know, if you worried about another person's opinion, you know, your self-esteem is low anyway, you know, and the self-esteem is what you know, is how you feel about yourself. So if you're going around feeling sad or miserable because somebody said something about you or about, you know, then you got thin skin. And that's what I mean when I said we are, you know, set our children up for failure when they, you know, have low self-esteem because, you know, we haven't allowed them to overcome their, you know, shortcomings, you know, and we all have them. So, you know, ain't nobody perfect out there, you know, even the best looking people in the world still, you know, have the same issues that you may have, or even the stars that you see, you know, you trying to look like one of these starlets and they got a whole team of people every day making them look a certain way. But you in the gym or you in there, you know, going to a surgeon trying to manipulate your body to look like somebody who has a whole team of people who picks out their clothes, who does their makeup, who does everything for them in order to make them look and present themselves in the way that you so treasure. So, you know, you need to rethink yourself, you know what I'm saying, and be the person that God made you to be, which is yourself, a unique person. You know, trying to look like somebody else is not what God wants you to do. He wants you to be yourself because he gave each one of us a skill set that is unique in itself, and only you can do that. Only you can. Nobody else, not your mama, your sister, your brother, your cousin can do what you can do. He gave you that unique gift. So you just need to figure out what that unique gift is. And then if you don't know your purpose is to help others. Like I said before, you know, that gift is meant to be used to help other people. Now, whether you choose to do that, you know, you could use your gift to try to get rich or whatever that may be, you know, financially, but that ain't the purpose. You know, you can help somebody and not expect to be, you know, help from that person. Either you want to help a person or you don't. You know, if you're going into a situation trying to help somebody so you could, because you could reap a reward in the future, then you may not need to help that person. You may need to just say, man, I can't help you. Just move on to the next person, you know, and be honest with yourself that you don't really want to help that person. So it's just a chopping up. This has been the Purple Level. Like I said before, I'm Wesley Reed Sr. signing out.